Okay, if there are no questions from you guys, then I think we can proceed. So people will join in between, so that's okay. Okay, so let me share my slides then. Okay, I hope my presentation are visible to all. So once again, good afternoon everyone, and once again welcome you all to this live session of NPTEL. This is live session 3 being conducted on 9th of February 2025. The course Environmental Impact Assessment is taught by Professor Harshit Sosan Lakra. She is Assistant Professor in Department of Architecture and Planning, IIT Roorkee. I am Rohit, and I am a PhD student in IIT Bombay. So I will be taking this live session. So if you have any queries or anything you want to discuss with me or something apart from this course also, that's not very important to discuss only related to this course. I'm totally okay if you want to raise something related to environment or anything which you find it very interesting. So you can share it all with the other students also. That is very much okay with me also. So basically, just give me a second. So this is the live session teaching methodology. So I think this is, wait. This is Sunday. Okay. So the teaching methodology will be same. We'll meet every Sunday 3 to 5 p.m. and then we will have a discussion on the topics taught in the weekly lectures. So I will first discuss the weekly lecture so that you guys can have a recap of whatever was taught in the lectures. And then we'll move to the assignment question. Also in between I have made different slides for you guys. So I put some videos links, something interesting which I found, some photographs to show you guys different disasters or anything which I want to have understanding of the different subjects or topic that is being taught. So second thing is discussion on the topics. Second thing is doubts clearing session. So if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask your doubts. I am totally okay with your queries. Don't feel shy in asking questions. Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask also, and in between if you are shy in asking question, you can write it in the chat box also. That is totally okay. Third is the main purpose of this live interaction session is to interact with the students. Okay, so have a proper interaction. Okay, and then there is discussion forum for NPTEL. So if you think any question which is very important that can benefit other students also, put it there. Okay, or anything related to systems or NPTEL query like I am unable to access course, everything this will be handled by the background staff, technical staff. So please put it in the discussion forum. Okay, so before we proceed, actually I want you to have an understanding or have what do you say, a kind of definition to these different terms. These terms are very important. Policy, what is a policy, what is a policy instrument, and what is a governance. So these three terms I want you to understand properly and have a distinction when you talk about these terms. Okay, so if you are saying a policy, what is a policy? What constitutes a policy? So policy is a statement of intent. Okay, so listen to it very carefully. Policy is a statement of intent to change behavior in a positive way. Okay, so let's say I will give you an example. Okay, so let's say a kind of like we are having electricity from coal. So but there is a policy by government which says कि now we will have more from renewable energy. Okay, like solar energy, wind energy. So this is kind of a policy कि we want to change the behavior. Earlier it was from traditional sources, now we are going for non-conventional sources. Okay, now the second thing which comes is what is policy instrument. Okay, So if you are talking about policy instrument, this is basically a means to translate that intent into action. So policy is basically an intent. You want to have a policy about this renewable energy. Now, what is policy instrument? So that is basically a regulations or kind of a draft rule book or draft policy book, which basically says that will have, it gives all the things. Okay, it gives how we are gonna achieve in how many years we'll have all these things. So these are contained in the policy instrument. So it is a specific measure to translate intent into action. So it gives a whole roadmap. So policy is an intent, a statement of intent. Policy instrument, it also contains a statement of interest plus the whole roadmap how we are gonna achieve all these things. Now comes the governance. So governance is the process whereby societies or organization make important decisions, and basically they determine who they can involve or how they can render account means that different things that you gonna do, how you are going to do with discussion or something important. So that is basically governance. So in governance, when you are talking about governance, the importance of the stakeholders become very important, like essential. Like if you want to have a whole system of government, like we have Indian government or a state government particularly, so all the societies are involved. By society or organization will mean the basically the people and their groupings, all those things. So all these things comes under the governance. So this is from the global environmental outlook. So it's a kind of a very important document if you want to access. Is very important. And why I'm talking about these definitions, because the questions in the quiz or exam can be from these definitions. So please feel free to go through the documents. And before I move to the assignment questions, basically Amago Caddy's spill was a very important spill or oil spill. So I will talk a lot about this Amago Caddy spill, because most of the things which were discussed in the weekly lectures, I'm sure that you must have gone through the lectures, and I don't want to repeat everything because the professor has made a video and all those are actually classroom recorded lectures. So yeah, go through them, and anything which I found important, I will discuss it. Like Emogo Caddy's field, I will discuss. United Conference on Law of Sea, what is that? So we'll have a discussion on all these things. And like Convention on International Trades in Endangered Species in Wild Fauna and Flora, what is that? Can we trade in animals? Can we trade in plant species? Is it that okay? If it is allowed, then why on the airport the custom officials catches the some wild animals which smugglers take away with them. So these things we will discuss in detail. Okay, so before that, I just want you guys to okay, Shubhankar has said, hello sir, for week 3 first lecture 2 on sustainable development timeline, a lot of years are there to remember. Can you please share any tips of easily doing it? So yeah, Shubhankar, your question is valid because there are a lot of timeline is there. But what I do generally, so basically I read it as a history. It's a kind of story. If you want to learn about environment is not just a thing to memorize. So if you want to learn something, make it a story. You can remember the story. So basically in 1972 we have the Stockholm summit, where first the term sustainable development was first discussed, and then there was first this was the first step basically towards thinking that how we can preserve our earth or something. Then if you are going somewhat faster, then comes the India Water Act, Air Act, all these acts are there. Then in 1986 we have very important, our Environmental Protection Act was passed, Environmental Act. Okay, so this is kind of a, if you see the timeline, these are very important. Attach the Indian timeline also to that. And in 1987 there was this Brundtland Commission. Okay, the commission headed by Brundtland or something. So Brundtland Commission is very very what you say important. Anything about sustainable development cannot be over without discussion on this Brundtland Commission, the Brundtland Commission report. And what was the name of the report? Anyone? We discussed in the last class also. What was the name of the report of the Brundtland Commission? Maybe this question may be asked in the quiz also. So please remember the name of the report. And anyone, if you have any idea what was the name of that Brundtland Commission report? Okay, so if nobody is able to answer, okay. So the name was Our Common Future. So see, our Nishu has answered it. Our Common Future. So Our Common Future. See, what a beautiful term. The title itself says what this report is going to discuss. So anything. This is what anything or any document which you are gonna write. The title should be such that after reading the title itself people get to know that what they can expect in the report. So Our Common Future, it says, a very beautiful report, you should read it. Okay, then I think after 19 and then 1992 Earth Summit was there in Rio de Janeiro. The first you say global warming was discussed there, and there was I think two three summits one after one, and then conference of parties started. So COP 1, 2, 3, and maybe I think the COP 19 or 15 was Paris Agreement, and then Kyoto Protocol was there 1997. All those things. Just remember it as a history type. Okay, so try to learn it or read it. So don't worry, you will go through the lectures. You will you will get a good understanding about all these things. Okay. Okay, so now we will move about some important. Mhm. Okay. So we'll move through the lectures. So I think important thing I will discuss. So United Nations Conference along the Sea. So if you see the slides also, they are very much organized in the year wise. Okay, so you can go through them. Basically, this is slide lecture 11. I think in last week, I think in 1972 Stockholm Summit was discussed. So you can go through that. Uh, Otherwise, don't worry. I have some slides. I think one or two pictures on this Stockholm Summit also. So basically, United Nations on Conference on the Law of the Sea. So UNCLOS. Okay, this was discussed first in 1973. Why? The reason was that sea land is regulated by each country, but sea is not regulated, and sea has the vast amount of resources with them. Okay, so if you are gonna have a resources at something, so some country will have bad eyes, some country will have good, and then there may be monopoly or maybe a kind of bully behavior by strong countries. So a kind of convention, a conference was there in 1973, unclosed conference, and they actually started discussing about how the sea trade or all these things can be regulated, like navigation, because the shipping industry was coming on. Shipping industry is much more old. You don't think even the Mesopotamians or Harappan peoples use the shipping lines for trade. So shipping was very much important. Even navy, the British came to India through ships only. The Portuguese, okay. In 1973, we have European Environmental Action Program. So Europe was the first. Europe is always the first in environment. If you go to European countries, they are very strict about environment. Switzerland, a beautiful country. Why it is beautiful? Because they don't want any extra carbon from them in their country from outside. So if you are in Germany and you have a car, let's say you have a car and you want to go to Switzerland. So Switzerland at the entry point they will check that whether your car is polluting above a limit or not. If it is polluting above a limit, they won't allow you, or they will charge so much of money that you will say that I don't want to go. Okay, so see the kind of environment they are preserving. Okay, so this is also, I think people are much more aware there. They have government which works for the environment. Then in United States enact the Endangered Species Act. So US, because why we discuss US? The US and Europe, they are actually pioneer in environment protection, because one of the reason which I see in US is that they have a lot of industrial mishaps, like uh, most of the river was polluted. I think the last time I saw some Mississippi River, it catches fire or something. So but they take action on that, and they make the NEPA Act was passed, National Environmental Protection Agency Act was passed. So all those things, that they make very good acts. Like Very good. Many of our acts are and regulations are copied from US and European countries. Like if you see Bharat stage emission norms, so earlier they were, uh, I think I told to this date also, we generally something based on the European norms only. Okay, Chipko movement in India. So 1973, India is not behind. India also has people coming up very strongly and raising some very strong movements to protect the environment. Chipko movement. So I think I don't want to discuss in detail about this Chipko movement, but it is very good if you could go and see this what this movement was. Sundarlal Bahuguna and I think Tulari Devi or something. So please read it in Uttarakhand, Himachal also. All this. That's what I see in people of mountainous region. They love their environment. They love forest. All this because they are very much dependent on them. They know their values, and we who are living in plain regions and we don't care about anything really. So it is very good that we learn something from them. Okay. Then in 1974 we have United Nations Conference CITES agreement was there. The World Population Conference on Bucharest, 135 countries. So food conference, everything was there. 75 doesn't have. I think CITES was enforced in 75. So this year was actually. Then we have United Nations Conference on Human Settlement, Vancouver. This is a very important conference. Why? Well, there were a lot of refugees. So when people displace from one, there can be many regions, economic regions, or many other regions also. Migration, all these things come under this human settlement. War or climatic disasters, flood, everything, all this comes under this. Green Belt movement was started. So yeah, this was a very good movement. This also awarded Wangari Mutamatha. So there were seeds that were actually spread across, and in the monsoon, those seeds actually germinated into trees. So this you can read about this movement in Green Belt movement. I think if I could find something about Green Belt movement here, I can show you. Wangari Maathai. If I could find see green belt movement. So okay, let's leave it and please read it. Green belt movement. United Nations Water Conference is held in Mar del Plata. All those things. Now comes the Emoco Cadiz oil spill. So basically, you know a lot about all these green belt movements and trees, prevention of trees. I want to discuss one important thing: oil spills. Okay, what happens? So this was from 1978 2020. 2,23,000 tons of Saudi Arabian crude oil. So this was a crude oil ship having the oil from Saudi Arabia, and it was transporting the oil to England, I think UK or France. I don't remember the name of the country, but it was transporting the ship through ship, and because of bad weather or something, this ship actually ran towards the coast, and it got damaged and broke down and then got sink. So whatever the oil was there, it was not a, it was a kind of tanker ship. Okay, and all the oil. So you can see the photographs here. So actually, it's a 1978 kind of photo. So videos are also there. So at that time, the black and white photography was more famous. So, but this is kind of a colorful photographs which you can see here. The oil is getting spilled. So I will show you the videos. I think I will show you the photographs also, actual photographs. How this oil spill actually you can actually you can see read this about in Google. So birds, this seabirds are there, their whole feather was actually wrapped up in oil. They could not fly, they died because of all these things, and a lot of marine losses we had. And major problem is not this oil spill. The main problem is that when you have a oil spill, how do you clear that oil? This is a major problem. So I will discuss that also. How if there is an oil spill, but this is not covered in the course, so that's why I wanted to discuss. Okay. So, and then OECD countries relaunches research on economic and environmental linkage. So, what is OECD country? So, these are kind of a very developed country, a group of very developed country. They have made a group, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So, all these countries are very high per capita income. So, they do a lot of studies. Basically, they are not doing for their what you say beneficial sake. They basically want to study which countries are growing, how do we learn from there. All these things are there. Basically, a kind of a politics to a global politics, you can say. So, okay. So before I move to next slide, let's have a something on the Amoco Cadiz oil spills. Let me share my slides here. Amoco Cadiz oil spills. Yeah, this was the Amoco Cadiz oil spill. You can see the photographs here. This was a ship which got sank on the coast of Brittany. You can see the real pictures, enlarged picture here, which was there in the slide. Okay, this is how it sank actually. The whole ship was actually filled with oil, and this was the after photographs. Like you can see the oil, the kind of skimming happening here. Okay, what do you say? This is called mm, I forgot a kind of Hindi mein we call it jhaag. Okay, so you can see the white and this whole beach. This is a beach actually. So you can see this brown one, this thing. This is a beach, a white sand beach, but due to this oil spill and waves have actually pushed the oil towards the beach. The whole beach was actually a kind of turned brown with the oil, and basically a lot of life of flora and fauna was actually hampered, and you can see the spill, the quantum of spill here. So I want you guys to see this photograph, and if you have any extra information or anything which you want to say, please feel free to say. Okay, and anyone wants to have share something on this? Why I'm not coming in the video? Yeah, what happened? And this is okay. So yeah, you did saw this oil spill. Now let's see the actual video. Okay, this spill. Okay. So you could notice this how it actually works basically for these ships actually. Okay, and now I want to basically I just want to have a discussion on this. So what can you do if you are a kind of a administrator who is responsible for handling or these kind of spills? So can you have any idea how these can be handled? So let's say if an oil spill is done actually, how can you handle it? Any idea from you guys? So Subhankar is saying something. So that is okay. That I want some technical solution. Alert the people is okay. Anyway, you have to alert the people and you have to make sure that the all the wild animals or anything which are in there in the region, so they must be or people should not go there. That is okay. But any technical solution, anyone who want to suggest something like if there is a oil spill, what else you can do? My video is actually anyone who has any idea on this? Okay, let me see if someone. Yeah, Tarun has also written this. Using of chemical adsorbents is good. Yeah, this can be a solution, quite a good solution actually. But from the water level, so yeah, this is kind of actually done. So one thing what they do then generally there are two three types of things. So one thing as a kind of a preventive measure, they make sure that they actually burn the oil if it is separate there in the ocean surface only. So they first what they do they circle the whole oil. So viscosity of oil is high. So it is actually above the water. Okay, so what they do generally they encircle the whole oil to a specific area and then they burn it. So one question, but generally environmental people raise concern about if you burn it then there can be some what do you say some problems to the nearby people. Temperature will be high, the wildlife who are living in the ocean, or maybe it can have uh, hamper the marine ecosystem also. The second thing what they suggest is use of these chemical adsorbents. So these are actually used. There are lots of chemical adsorbents which can be used. Okay. Also, Nishu has said quick action is needed. Surely, quick action is needed. There are chemical treatments may be available which absorb the oil, and maybe the oil eating bacteria. So yeah, this is something new which I am seeing here. A kind of answer I think Nishu has read a lot of thing or maybe what's something extra. So yeah, oil eating bacteria are there. I think in our department also a professor works on this oil eating bacteria. So these bacteria are there, but the main problem with these bacteria their metabolic activity is slow. So they don't eat very fast. So it may takes a kind of a 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, or maybe more also, depending on what type of consortia of bacteria is this. But yeah, this is also done. Oil eating bacteria done. So if you let me share a video where how do you clean ocean spill? Okay, have a look at this. So, let me share. dissolved oxygen, the marine life will actually suffocate, or maybe because of chemical change in the chemical composition, also more acidic or more basic nature of the water. The marine lives, actually the corals are very much affected, and if corals are affected, everything will be affected. Okay, I think someone wants to say something on this. Let me see. Anyone wants to say something? Okay, you said true only. Okay, okay, Shumankar. So no problem. On what basis the intensity of oil spill is measured? So I think I don't have any idea on this oil spill. I won't be able to comment on that, because if you want to measure some intensity, so it kind of what you say, maybe spread, like how many tons of oil has been spread in what area, so that may gives you an intensity of the oil spill measure. So this may be one of the unit of oil spill measure, but to be very sure about it, you need to check with the uh, companies or something who measure them. Okay. Okay. And basically, if you have seen the video, this Gulf of Mexico video, so they have said something like 10 million gallons of oil was spilled. So I think this is the kind of intensity of measurement which you are talking about. So yeah, how many tons of gallons of oil, or gallons, gallons is a unit used in American system. So 1 gallon is something 4.8 liter or something. So this is how I think they are measured. How much oil has been spilled at to what area? Okay. Tarun, do you want to say something? Okay, no problem. Uh, okay. And yeah, this one. So this is true. Oil spills may harm and kill marine life. Okay. This oil spills. Okay. So uh, Nishu has said during chemical treatment, when there are small droplets which can spread faster, than how to control it. Actually, if you have seen the video, Nishu, what they are saying that basically they when you put some chemical, one thing is chemical adsorbents, like the whole area is actually siphoned off and then cordoned off, not siphoned off, cordoned off, and then there are adsorbents which actually absorbs the oil. That is one thing. Second thing is that when they put chemical, these oil actually starts breaking into some simpler compounds which are more soluble in water. So basically oil make up of hundreds of compounds. Okay, so some are actually soluble in water, and water is actually, sea has a lot of water, so anything which is soluble in it will get diluted. So the kind of intensity of harm that it can do when it was a oil, and then a chemical. Basically, I will give you an example. Acid, HCl or HNO3 or H2SO4. So if it is concentrated, it can do much more harm. It can burn your hand. But if it is like diluted form, if it is in diluted form, 1% HCl or something, nothing will happen if you touch it. Same thing happens there also. So they make it to the droplet so that it can dissolve in the vast ocean. Okay, so this is how they manage, because if it is spilled in a very large area, it takes years to clean. How does this Amoco Cadiz oil spill? How many years do you think it would have been spent to clean this oil? 3 years or maybe more actually. One more example I want to give. So this is for the oil spill. What happens if the oil is actually mixed with the sand? How do you clean it? Chemical adsorbents is not going to work there. How do you clean it? If oil get washed to the beach and then it is mixed with the sand. So I am writing the question here. Okay. If the oil, spilled oil. Okay, so you are saying if it is up to 6 inches, then you need to dig all those things. You saw the coastline there, how much tons of sand or something which you will have to remove for that. Huh? And if the area is larger, and how do you separate the oil from the sand? Well, you know, na, sand has absorbance property, so it will kind of make a layer of oil on the outer surface and maybe some in the inner surface also. Liquid phase of liquid absorbents. Yeah, there are liquid absorbents. So kind of absorbents which you are saying. See, you are saying ki, yeah, there can be liquid absorbents, but the absorbents are very much limited, which can absorb soil. Soil has a very high viscosity, so getting it absorbed on any surface is very tough actually. Okay, and that is crude oil, not as petroleum or something which can evaporate. Like they are very much volatile. So if you leave it in the atmosphere, also it will evaporate. So that's why people after filling their bike tank, they actually close the lid very fast because it will evaporate. So it is not like that. It is kind of crude oil which is very volatile. It kind of sticky and something. So kind of first thing is you can use chemical adsorbents. There are chemical adsorbents, but the nature of chemical adsorbents and type are very limited. Second thing is these chemical adsorbents are not cheaper. They are very costly. Even the small 1 gram portion itself will cost you much. Okay. So yeah, that is, you can say that we will spill the chemical adsorbents. The kind of money it will take to clean the sand, the government will say, okay, leave it. We'll mark this whole beach as not fit for human, and we'll leave it as it is. The environment will took the thing. Maybe the bacteria or fungus will grow and they will clean it in hundreds of years or 200 of years. Okay. Nisu has said, sir, we can spray chemical and which can break into small and easy organic compounds. These can remove with time. Yeah, you can break, but still it will be stick on the sand surface. And sand, they're very fine. How do you clean then? So there are techniques also for this. There are technological advancement also to kind of easy or cheaper technological advancements also there. So I want ki you guys search on this question, use the Google or anything, and till then we'll have a break of I think 5 minutes, so that you can actually. So this is kind of a not a break. This is kind of a discussion session. So I want you guys to use this time efficiently and look for it. Okay, how can we clean if this oil is mixed with beach sand? I will tell you an interesting story also. So okay, search for it. Okay, so did you guys found out how to solve this problem? Magnetic beads. Okay, Shubhankar has said there are a lot of things. Chemical treatment. People have said a lot of if the oil spill is mixed with beach sand. Okay, sir, we can spray chemical. Okay, this was one. How do you clean then? Burning. Burning is a kind of important thing. Yeah, we do combustion. So Tarun is right here. We do combustion. A kind of you will see here fluidized bed combustion. This can be used to clean the. So Tarun is kind of right here. Nishu has said, so there is no proper method, but a combination of method can be used like hot water spray is there, chemical treatment, bioremediation, also washing. Washing is there. Actually, bioremediation can be done, chemical treatment. So Nishu is also right. Or we can left it to naturally degrade, but it will take too much time, like hundreds of years. So yeah, this can be done also. Tarun Kumar said in situ. In situ, yeah, the mentioned by Nishu can be used. Some other methods we can apply: remove surface oil, dig and remove oil sand, use oil dispersing agent, apply solvents, bioremediation, add nutrients, monitor, maintain, restore the habitat, and dispose of waste. Yeah, kind of this type of method Nishu and Sumankar said can be used. Magnetic beads. Magnetic beads. I don't know how to use this for Vivek Kumar. Yeah, incineration can be used. Fluoride bed combustion. This is kind of a technique which can be used here. Magnetic beads. Tarun, can you explain how magnetic beads can be used? Hmm. Acha, you are saying coagulation. Acha, you are saying about this coagulation thing. Yeah, that can also be used. Okay. So that's interesting. Yeah, you guys are searching a lot of things on this. So Vivek has said addition or absorbance like peat moss, straw, sawdust. This is kind of a coagulant which Tarun was also. They are actually they attract the oil much more than sand, and they actually can soak up the oil. Yeah, this can be done. The best thing is fluidized bed combustion is actually used in the case. Do you want to know how France clean that? So let's leave it to you guys. I think so. There was an interesting story which I just want to tell. So actually, this oil spill, not this oil spill, but yeah, somewhere in Europe, they had this kind of a oil spill, and the whole beach was actually damaged. So this oil spill was very old. I think this Brittany coast only in France. So IIT Delhi they contacted. There is a very renowned professor there. So they contacted him in IIT Delhi. Like we had this problem, research problem. Can you solve this? And he was actually kind of expert in some other technology which can be used here. So combustion type of technology. So he was very much expert. So he said, how can we do that? How can we do that? And then he actually used the concept of fluidized bed combustion to clean that actually. So they took up the project there, they went there, they actually solved the problem. I don't know whether the problem was solved or not, but they were applying this type of thing. So yeah. Okay. No, not costly, not that much costly as applying absorbents. It kind of generate electricity also, or kind of energy also that can be used. So this is if you apply absorbents, it is a kind of you're putting money and you are not getting any output. In fluidized bed combustion, you are basically using the sand and the oil to make a fluidized medium and then burn it. Then whatever the energy is generated, that can be used to generate electricity also. So this is kind of you are uh, eco-friendly, yeah. Because if it is not eco-friendly, then you are creating a bigger problem. Okay. So let's say, huh, so combustion is eco-friendly, bro. Actually, if you are saying that, let's say a fuel is burnt, okay, so there are much more harmful. Uh, so let's say there are categories of demons. One is small demon, which is not much harmful, but there are large demons who are very much harmful. So CO2 is kind of a small demon. CO2, carbon dioxide. See, if any fuel is burnt, so this is kind of a statement you should note. When a fuel is burnt, if it is producing CO2 and H2O, that is more than enough. If it is producing CO, NOx, SOx, particulates, all those things, they are much larger demon and they do lot of harm to the environment than CO2. Okay, so if you are producing CO2 by burning the fuel, that is kind of a, okay. You can capture. There are a lot of technology like CCUS, carbon capture and storage. You can capture CO2 also and store it. Okay, okay. Tarun, you want to say something? Okay. So read about this carbon capture and storage, all those things. Okay. The best thing which can happen to a fuel is it is converted to CO2. Okay. CO2 has a global warming potential of 1. How much global warming potential is methane? 26. It is 26 times more potent in raising the temperature of the globe worldwide. Okay. So it's better we have CO2 than methane. But also we don't want a lot of CO2. It will be equivalent to methane only in overall the global warming potential. NOx, SOx, NOx has a, how much of CO2 is okay? You are saying about the limits. If you are saying about the limits, we are generally producing around 0.8 grams of CO2, kg of CO2 per kilowatt hour. Okay. So something around 800 grams of CO2 goes into atmosphere when you are burning, uh, when you are getting electricity, when you are making electricity of 1 unit. Okay. If you want to make it sustainable, like to the pre-industrial levels, so we have to cut the CO2 because we had have enough of CO2 in the atmosphere. So at this level, it is we want to capture the CO2 in the atmosphere from the atmosphere also. But I think 0.1 or 0.2 grams of CO2 is more than enough. Like we have in natural gases, so that is okay. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, then we move forward to next slides. So I think we were having this discussion. So then we have all these conventions are there. A lot of conventions are there. I am skipping most of them. So this was one of the major conventions, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. So this was passed in 1982 and it came into effect actually. So let's see if I have a video on this or something, some pollution, climate change. Okay, so no videos. You can read about this UNCLOS. So I will give you an idea what happened there in United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So let's say this is India. So let me zoom it. This is India. So they said that from this coastline, the coastline was actually defined, and they said that from this coastline up to 12 nautical yards, nautical miles, not yards, nautical miles. Nautical miles is something which is used in nautical means related to sea. So up to 12 nautical miles, India can enforce its laws, and everything comes under the sovereignty of India. It is kind of a whatever is applied on the landmass of India, the same laws and principle will be applied on the 12 nautical miles. So India can expand its border also in 12 nautical miles. Okay. Second thing is after 12 nautical miles up to 200 nautical miles, that is EEZ, economic zone. Okay, economic enforcement zone or something is the abbreviation. So EEZ, in EEZ, all the minerals, all the petroleum results, all the fishing results, everything belongs to India. Okay, so that is EEZ, and after EEZ, that is free sea, open sea. So nobody has claim on that. So India has territorial sovereignty up to 12 nautical miles. India has economic zone up to 200 nautical miles. Okay, whatever minerals or anything is comes under 200 nautical miles belongs to India. So there are, if you say a coastline, there are two forces. One is Coast Guard, one is Navy. Okay, so up to 12 nautical miles, like 12 miles, this whole area comes under, because all the laws of land applies here. So this comes under Coast Guard. Coast Guard has some policial activities also. They have police powers. And after that, the whole area up to 200 nautical EEZ comes under the Navy and the free sea also. This I escape. Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, so this is very important. So in Bhopal gas tragedy, basically this was a tragedy which happened in a Union Carbide factory, and methyl. So remember the name of the gas. Methyl isocyanide was the gas which leaked in the night, and nobody was actually prepared for that. A lot of people died in the sleep itself because the gas is heavier and it settled on the ground, affecting lots of people. So this was kind of a disaster which kind of forced Indian government to make a comprehensive law. Which law? Environmental Protection Act 1986. It was made in 1986 because of this whole tragedy. Before that, we have Air Act, Water Act, all these things were there. In 1985, we have Antarctic ozone hole is discovered. So this is kind of ozone hole which you are seeing. See the kind of it was taken from NOAA 2022. You can see the ozone hole here. So if you are saying about ozone hole is not a hole. Like it's a kind of hole which you anything can be allowed through it. So there is a layer of ozone. Ozone is basically O3, which is surrounding throughout the earth, which you can see here. But here the layer is very thin, allowing the UV and UVC to pass through it. UV is okay. UVC, B and C is harmful to the skin and it causes skin cancer. So ozone hole basically allows these lights. All these area doesn't allow. Ozone hole allows this light to pass through it. Why of the question remains is we are producing all those chemicals here, that is ozone, that has ozone depletion potential. So there are two potential: global warming potential, ozone depletion potential. These are global problems, so people are more focused on that only in environmental sense. The global warming potential is okay. Ozone depletion potential, all the industry is located here in the landmass. Okay, here, US, UK, Europe. But why the ozone hole is creating over Antarctica, where there is no any industry? Why it is creating over Antarctica? Anyone wants to answer on that? It's a very interesting question. Now nobody think about it. Why ozone hole is over Antarctica? Due to low temperature. No, low temperature though. If you go 50, above 15,000 meters, you will find low temperature only everywhere. It's a kind of uniform throughout. And ozone layer is above 15,000 meter in the stratosphere zone, stratospheric zone. Anyone wants to answer this? I don't know what is happening with my feed. Let's say with her. Okay, Shubhankar is saying something. Let's hear him. Yes, Shubhankar, go on. Yeah, human-based chemicals, basically the refrigerants, CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. But why it is over Antarctica, where there are no fridges, no nothing, which can have emission of these chlorofluorocarbons? Why over Antarctica? It's kind of interesting, na? Ki ozone hole is getting formed over Antarctica. Read about this. Search this question. I will ask in the next class. Okay. It's very much related to kind of Earth rotation and all those things. Okay. Vortex. Read about vortex, polar vortex, all those things. Polar atmospheric clouds. Yeah, Vivek is some right. Polar stratospheric clouds, ice crystal triggered chemical reaction. Kind of same thing. Polar vortex, polar stratospheric clouds are there. It basically supports this. They actually stick to these polar stratospheric clouds, and due to polar vortex, they go there and create chemical reaction that cannot be stored. Even one single piece of molecule of the CFC can actually damage 3 lakh ozone molecules. So you can imagine the kind of harm it can do, and we are producing lakhs of molecules. Okay. Okay, then we move here. In 1985, we have this ozone hole were depleted, and the whole world was very cautious. In 1987, we have Montreal Protocol. This was okay. IUCN is very important. They make very good reports. Conservation of nature. 1986, Chernobyl, toxic radiation explosion nuclear station. So this was kind of a nuclear plant in Chernobyl, and because of some control rods mishappening, the whole kind of reactor went down, and there was a blast in the reactor. All those things happened, and basically the blast is not important. Important is it was a radioactive thing that actually made the whole town suffer. In 1987, we had this Our Common Future, or Brundtland Commission report. Our term sustainable development become proper, and then Montreal Protocol on substance that deplete the ozone layer. So basically, Montreal Protocol was there, and it was like people were like, okay, we are going to die because the ozone layer is going to deplete. So all the countries work together, and this is the most successful protocol ever happened at the global level. Okay, and world population reached 5 billion crossed. IPCC, that's very important. IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, was made, and basically IPCC organizes conference of parties also. Um, so Exxon Valdez on ground random 11 million of oil in the president. This is around Mexico or something. Green economy 1992. This is not so important. Not so important also. There are a lot of disasters. Hundreds of oil fires being burn out of control during Kuwait in wake of Gulf War. So in Gulf War, the Iraqi forces attack on Kuwait and they set fire to the field, and because of the war also. 1991 is okay. 1992 ESPO convention. So ESPO convention I discussed in the last class. Transboundary context. So ESPO convention is okay. 1992. Here comes the major thing. The United Nations Conference on the Environment and Development. That is happened in Rio de Janeiro. Three things were passed there. Agenda 21 was passed. That is the 21 things that needed to be done basically to conserve the environment. Then also conference on parties started, and then a framework convention started for the climate change. Okay, so this was a very important convention actually. for Rio de Janeiro. So international agreement, United Nations framework was actually UNFCCC was enforced in 1994. It is not legally binding, but yeah, generally countries follow that. Requires frequent meeting between the ratifying country known as Conference of Parties. So COP happens every year. So when you see that our Prime Minister went to the different places like Belgium, all those things, this is for COP. And it is ratified by 197 countries. So 209 or 10 countries, 11 countries are there. Most of the countries have ratified. Ratified means passed by the parliament or the government. Yeah, we are following the protocols. EIA, so the principle 17 and principle 15 basically goes for all these things. So UN also made some things for the EIA, and then India joined in 1992 and signed the agreement. This is for Earth Summit. And first COP conference of parties was, so this can be asked in the exam also. So first conference of parties was in Berlin, and the basically mandate was basically to lay groundwork for Kyoto Protocol that happened in 1997. So these you can read about different. They have actually Article 14 impact assessment and in the whole thing also. So also comprehensive reform for long-term established EIA system was done. New Zealand in 1991, Canada 1905, Australia 1994, India 1994, Australia 1995. So this was environmental impact assessment notification from Government of India. Okay, so all this thing revised. So there are a lot of treaties, and you can go establish 1995 WTO. So WTO also enforces a lot of regulation in world trade. So if you are not doing sustainable production, so WTA comes into it. Then comes the Kyoto Protocol. So read about this. Kyoto Protocol basically said that if you are producing in simple terms, which I am saying, let me make you understand the Kyoto Protocol in simple terms. Let's say USA is going as a very industrialized nation, so it is producing 100 tons of carbon. But Kyoto Protocol, what it does, on the basis of the economic size and all those things, it allotted a quota of carbon. So North America or USA is allowed to emit only 60 tons of carbon, but it emitted in a year 100 tons of carbon. So 40 tons it emitted more. So what Kyoto Protocol says, it basically made a carbon market. So let's say India is producing only 30 tons of carbon CO2, but it has a quota of 50 tons. So 20 tons it has a deficit. It can produce 20 tons more. So what America will do? America will say ki your whatever carbon credits you have, like is free carbon you have not emitted, just I will purchase you from that. So America paid India. So this payment can be in many terms, like direct payment also, or maybe clean development mechanism was there. So America will do a project there in India that will actually save carbon dioxide, basically, like some renewable energy project or something that can be. So these type of things was actually done, and then carbon market was actually evolved also, cap and trade, all these things which I said. So this is very simple. So the deficit of 40 tons, so that will actually, because of India, sorry, the excess will be handled by the deficit of India. Okay, so this is how this Kyoto Protocol works, and it is also successful. Country did followed it until it was replaced by Paris Agreement in 2015. Then UNFCCC, all those things. Conference adopt the Kyoto Protocol in Japan, 1993, COP3. Then we have RS convention. So RS convention we have for environment. Okay, that we discussed in the last class. Okay. So I now, because there are a lot of slides here, so I will now move to the my slides so that we can teach it faster. So match the following global timeline. So now, Shumankar, now you can actually relate to the different events. So basically, if you are talking about 1974, so what happened in 1974? Okay, so 1974 we have CITES, CITES, United Nations Convention on. Okay, in 1973, what happened? So law of the sea was first discussed. Okay. In 1978, we have conference on basically the Meko Cadiz spill of the coast of Brittany, and then 1976 we have United Nations Conference on Human Settlement. The correct answer is answer C. This is from the pictures from the United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. This is very successful, one of the kind of successful treaty in the world also, UNCLOS. So this is kind of a conference which is happening in Montego Bay 10 December 1982. Now comes the sites. So from the last 2-3 minutes we are or maybe in half an hour site. What is sites? So basically, this is a convention which establishes a legal framework for trading between flora and fauna, and basically looks into the endangered species. So it classifies the species also. So IUCN classifies the species endangered, vulnerable, all those things. So endangered species are basically the trade is stopped on these species. You cannot trade on the endangered species. Okay, for an effective revolution of international trades in other countries. So basically, conference of parties are there for sites. So this is different from UN, United Nations. So secretariat is there, plant committee is there, animal committee is there, and then standing committee which basically approves, and then conference of party which is basically the reports are presented. Let's watch sites. So there are a lot of things which goes into this world trade. So there it is very regulated now, and you cannot trade in endangered species. That's why there are whole classification of flora and fauna, not only animals but plants also. So like chandan tree. So Pushpa movie, you remember the chandan tree, red chandan tree. So this is endangered species. You cannot trade in that. Or vulnerable species. You can trade, but with very much regulation. You cannot trade in very high quantities. Turtles, tortoises, snakes. So they are very endangered. Alligators, all those things. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let's move to. So this is actual picture from the United Nations Conference on Human Settlement. So you can see the different persons who are here. So basically, it said that adequate shelter is a basic human right. So we have to provide the shelter. So refugees, all those things, they come under the UNCHS. This was the spell which were discussed. And yeah, okay. So match the following global environmental timeline. So 1981, we have this. What happened in 1981? So global strategy for health for all by 2000 by World Health Assembly. So this was in upcoming slides when you read those slides. In 1984, so 84, we just read this Bhopal gas tragedy, methyl isocyanate leak. 1979, we have Convention on the Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution is adopted, and in 1980, you have this World Conservation Strategy by IUCN towards sustainable development. So correct answer is answer C. Now, what is basically a transboundary air pollution? And what is this conference? So convention basically defines, so which convention? This. Okay, the convention on the long range transboundary air pollution. So air pollution is the introduction by man directly or indirectly of substance or energy into the air, resulting in deleterious effects of such a nature as to endanger human health, harm living resources and ecosystems and material property. They are actually going to harm material property also, like Taj Mahal getting destroyed by acid rain. So kind of air pollution, and their impair or interference with the amenities and other legitimate use of environment. So what is long range transboundary air pollution? Means air pollution whose physical origin is situated whole or part within the area under the national jurisdiction of one state, which has adverse effects in the area under the jurisdiction of other state. To such a extent that it is not generally possible to distinguish the contribution of individual emission sources or group of sources. So let's say India has a coal power plant and it is generating some CO2, and basically the effects are getting filled in Pakistan or something. So that will count under the air pollution, transboundary air pollution. So there is a very good, I think, Nat Geo, this you should see, Nat Geo documentary on air pollution. two reasons for climate change. So main greenhouse gases that cause climate change are carbon dioxide and methane. Also NOx also. NOx has a global warming potential of N2O has 328 or something. Human activity is overwhelming cause of climate change because now after the industrial revolution, human activity has gained a lot of pace and they are actually contributing to the global warming change. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide from human activity are responsible for approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius of climate change. Okay, some provinces and some national states also use nearly 100% renewable based electricity, like South Australia, Quebec, Canada, and Qinghai, China are actually using 100% renewable based electricity. They are not burning any fuels, fossil fuels for that. This is kind of a thing that can be implemented, like you can generate electricity and power the whole field also. You can see the renewables are increasing, coal is decreasing. So this is kind of from IEA data 2022, but yeah, still coal is a lot of coal electricity is coming from coal. So now we are since we are moving to this new renewable sources, so more jobs will also be created in this area. So if you say the Paris Agreement, it basically says कि if you limit the global temperature to 1.5, so you have to do a lot of things. You have to be more greener, and up to 2 degrees Celsius is accepted after the end of the century, that is 2100. But that also needs a lot of substantial effect. Or अगर हम if we go by this way, the way which we are living and emitting a lot of sources through fossil fuels, it will lead to plus 3 degrees Celsius increase in the global temperature. So you can see global temperature, average global temperature will increase by 300 degrees Celsius. Local temperature may go up by 5-10 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is kind of history of climate change you should see. it's a kind of a, what you say, if you're not going to reduce the risk and prevent it from happening, so you will going to get back from the nature itself. Okay. So did you guys find these videos interesting, or anything which you want to add on this, on the climate change? Okay. So basically all those things, I want you guys to learn more about things. Okay. True or false, in 2003, United Nations General Assembly endorsed the United Nations Decade for Education. This is true. Okay. This is Millennium Ecosystem was released. Millennium Development Goals are released. This is also true. So this is kind of a sustainable development goals, basically released in 2015, and in Millennium Ecosystem. So there was the whole provisioning ecosystem services were actually divided: provisioning, regulating, culture, and supporting. So you can read it from here also. Then this is EIA notification. So this is from the previous. Also, stage one is basically screening. Stage two is scoping. Stage three is public consultation. Stage four is sorry, stage three is appraisal, and stage four is public consultation. Okay. This is kind of EIA flow chart which you can see here. Stage one, two, three, four, five, six. Go through it. If you find it difficult, we'll discuss in the next class also. Okay, so there are a lot of things. A kind of NEPA Act also, I made a slide. Like NEPA is the umbrella act. So there are a lot of acts there which are actually included in the NEPA Act. So this is kind of a US based act. You can get to know more about this from this slide itself. So you can go through it. So apart from that, this is national air quality monitoring. So this is also a very important. So there were four pollutants: sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, respirable suspended particulate matter, and fine particulate matter are actually monitored in national air quality monitoring. Okay. And there is an index also that basically classifies air quality index. And this is climate change agreement. So I put two videos here. One is Paris climate change, and then second one is from Earth Summit 1992. So I said you guys to please go through these videos, because not everything can be played in this 2 hour class. So yeah, and thank you all. Thank you for coming to this live session. And if you find anything interesting or any queries, please you can raise your doubt at this email ID. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for attending this live session. Any questions? So if there are no questions, I am ending this live session. And you can find this live session. Uh, Let me show you guys here. You will, I am sure you must be getting some mails also. Oh, sorry, on this one. So yeah, you can see the tab here, problem solving session. Go click on this tab. Uh, you can click here. Here you can find the link, recorded link for this YouTube live session. So if you missed the class, don't worry. All the recordings of this class, so whatever is taught in this class is getting recorded and they are uploaded here itself. And you can find the slides from here itself also. Okay. So thank you all for attending this live session. It was a wonderful session with you guys. Thank you.